And you know what time it is? It's time for KP's Video News. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all.
That's right.
Right.
KP's Video News, y'all. You know what time it is. I decided, well, I'll go ahead on and do another show before, got my pajamas on here. And I'm going to go ahead on and do this show before I hit the sack. And it's a, bad situation, man. We had a cop that mistakenly shot a 1-year-old boy in the head and improperly opened fire pertaining to Ben Crump. And Legend Small remains in ICU with problems breathing and moving as a result of the shooting. And it's a really bad situation, man. Real bad situation. The police officer whose gunfire hit a 1-year-old boy in Houston violated department protocol when he opened fire while pursuing a suspect. Lawyers for the infant's mother said during a press conference Tuesday morning. Legend Smalls, the baby hospitalized with life-threatening injuries from the shooting earlier this month, is in an intensive care unit and has problems breathing and moving as a result of the shooting. And Ben Crump, one of the attorneys representing a young Legend's mother, announced during the press conference that there will be a lawsuit against the Houston Police Department. He said that the 15-year veteran officer whose gunfire hit Legend opened fire without properly identifying the target, which is inconsistent with police policy. The shooting happened about 1:30 p.m. On March the 3rd, and the still unidentified officer chased the robbery suspect who crashed the car he was driving into a gas station. Police said they feared the armed suspect would jump into a nearby car belonging to Legend's mother, who was pumping gas at the time. Police said when the suspect didn't respond to the orders to drop the gun, the officers opened fire, killing the suspect but also hitting the baby, who was shot in the right side of the head. Oh, man. Doctors who had removed part of Legend's skull to relieve the swelling were able to dislodge the bullet, but not all of its fragments. Legend's mother said during a press conference Tuesday that her son should never have been the victim of such violence. My baby didn't deserve to be shot, especially by the police. And, wow. The police have said that the officer was not aware that there was a child in the back seat. The shooting in Houston happened as politicians and law enforcement agencies alike struggled to agree on how and when to hold police accountable for their action. The Supreme Court in 1989 set a national legal precedent for when it's acceptable to use deadly force against a fleeing subject. And Graham versus O'Connor established that determining when lethal force is acceptable might be judged from the perspective of a reasonable officer on the scene. In other words, hindsight is irrelevant. The case was cited to defend Darren Wilson, the police officer that shot Michael Brown in the 2014 Ferguson, Missouri. Wilson was ultimately never indicted for the high-profile shooting that was largely credited as sparking the Black Lives Matter movement as we know it today. And wow, man, this is what's going on. So since we're talking about the that particular end of that one, we're going to go to this one right here. We had two, not one but two, St. Louis police officers charged with forcible rape and a third officer charged with thwarting the investigation. Two veteran St. Louis police officers on Wednesday were arrested on rape and other sexual assault allegations dating back to 2009, while a third officer was charged with attempting to derail the investigation. LaFell Lachey, a 13-year veteran of the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department, was charged with the forcible sodomy, forcible rape, being an accessory to forcible rape, and tampering with the victim. According to the court documents, Lachey was accused of sexually assaulting 2 women in 2009, both of whom said the assault took place after he had served them at least one alcoholic drink. And court documents indicate that at least 4 different women alleged that Lachey gave them strong and drug-laced drinks before assaulting them in his home. Tory Phelps, a 14-year veteran of the department, was charged with forcible rape stemming from a 2010 accusation. The documents allege that Lachey and Phelps were at a bar with the woman when Lachey brought her an unusually strong drink. The woman said the next thing she remembered was waking up and Phelps was raping her while Lachey was in a nearby room. The charges allege, and the alleged assault took place in Lachey's home. Another incident, a woman claims she was in Lachey's home in 2019 when he touched her inappropriately. She claimed that Lachey sexually assaulted her after she rejected him. She then reported the assault to the sergeant during lunch in March 2020. According to the report, Claiborne Muldrow peppered the victim with questions for nearly 2 hours before telling her the whole ordeal was a misunderstanding and she should call Lachey to explain the misunderstanding. Despite Claiborne Muldrow's alleged intervention, the victim proceeded to file a police report regarding the alleged December assault, only to have the Claiborne Muldrow intervene again. Claiborne Muldrow showed up in the Internal Affairs Unit and asked who was investigating the complaints made against Lachey. When Lachey reportedly found out he was being investigated, he called the victim to ask, "Are we cool?" and also told her he did not sexually assault her. Claiborne Muldrow was charged Tuesday with witness tampering. All right. So, St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department Chief John Hayden issued a statement praising the victims for speaking up. Accountability is and always has been a primary focus of administration. Any allegations that compromise the integrity of the department will be investigated thoroughly and impartially. If probable cause is developed that indicates potential criminal activity, that is turned over to proper authorities for determination. Most notably, the situation should recognize the courage of several victims to come forward and share their story with the Internal Affairs Division, who they trusted to be confidential and complete. And the pledge to accountability and transparency has not wavered, and hope that the citizens recognize that we will try to make every effort to continue to work to regain their trust. Wow. That's 2 cops, man. 2 cops charged with rape, and the 3rd cop charged with trying to interfere with the investigation. So this is a cop-heavy stories here tonight, and this is a LAPD, a retired LAPD cop, and detective seen on a viral video hurling racial slurs. This happened last week at a black man. And a retired LAPD detective was captured on video hurling racial slurs at a young black man, prompting the district attorney's office to announce it would review 370 cases that this particular cop handled. 370 cases were going to have to be reviewed. The man, who is white, can be heard saying multiple racist insults at the black man during an argument after a minor traffic collision, and stated, "Go back to your little cage until the monkey controller gets here." The man yells later in the video, calls the black man the N-word. Activist Sean King on Tuesday posted video of an encounter on his Instagram page and has garnered over 750,000 views. And the encounter happened in Santa Clarita, California. LAPD said it started its own investigation and issued the following statement in response to the video. Los Angeles, it has come to the department's attention that there is a video posted on social media of retired LAPD detective. The individual in the video uses racial slurs while engaging in an argument. The individual is not a current member of the LAPD and retired in May 2020 as a detective assigned to Operations Central Bureau Homicide. To ensure there is no current department nexus to this incident, there has been an internal investigation started What is seen in the video is not reflective of the thousands of hardworking and dedicated men, blah, 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 blah. Late Tuesday evening, the Office of District Attorney's Office, Gascon, announced it would be reviewing 370 cases handled by the retired detective. LAPD says it will cooperate fully in the process. The video in question is disturbing and involves a former homicide detective exhibiting racist tendencies. And the LA District Attorney's Office is taking immediate action, and it has identified several cases where this individual was a witness. We're in the process of notifying these defense attorneys in such cases. So that's a possibility that 370 cases could possibly be overturned because of this racist cop that was definitely videotaped during his racist tirade. So by law, I guess they have to do it. They don't have a choice. They have to alert the attorneys. There's a possibility that it might have been some bias in this cop's arrest and trial cases. So those people could possibly be getting out of jail for that reason. And this is another crazy story. 4 Tennessee Republicans voted against. I'll say that again. 4 Tennessee Republicans voted against removing the slavery exception from the state's constitution. Yep. And when I get to the reason, then you understand why. Although Tennessee abolished slavery after the Civil War, an article in the state's constitution states that slavery and involuntary servitude are allowed for someone who has been convicted of a crime. Let me say that again. In this Tennessee, after slavery was abolished after the Civil War, an article in the state of Tennessee's constitution states that slavery and involuntary servitude are allowed for someone who has been convicted of a crime. So that means they can put you back into slavery if you get convicted of a crime in Tennessee. Understandably, there's a strong push to strip the language out, but 4 Republicans in the state Senate have voted against removing it. The bill to remove the article from the Tennessee Constitution was sponsored by Senator Agbari, a Memphis Democrat who serves in the Tennessee Senate. When the bill came up for a vote, Senator Brian Kelsey and 3 other Republicans voted against it. And the Tennessee Constitution presently states that, like I said before, that involuntary slavery and servitude are prohibited in this state except as a punishment for a crime, whereof the party shall be duly convicted. The 13th Amendment of the Constitution, which abolished slavery, contained a similar exception. So many argue that the exception has permitted gross abuses, exploitation, and cruel forced labor of the incarcerated population. Most Republicans in the Tennessee Senate, however, voted for Agbon's bill, along with Democrats, and on Tuesday, the Tennessee House of Representatives is scheduled to vote on it. They're going to vote on it again tomorrow. If the bill passes in the Tennessee House of Representatives, it would go to the desk of the governor, Republican governor, who could either sign it into law or veto it. Tennessee, a red state, presidency has 2 Republican senators, and as both houses of its legislature are Republican controlled. So, having said that, the state of Tennessee, they have been using these inmates for free labor ever since the end of the Civil War. And here it is, 2021, man. March 2021, and that's another one of those southern states, man, that are just like take your rights and trample all over them. it's legal in that state of Tennessee for them to lock you up, take away your rights, force you to work for free, force you to work for free if you're arrested and you're convicted of a crime in that state. 2021, March 2021. It's still on the books, and these guys have voted against removing it. All right, here's my feel-good story of the day, and it's kind of, another one of those that is bittersweet. After a racist attack from a broadcaster, Oklahoma high school girls team win its sixth title. Six. I got a Oklahoma high school girls team win its sixth title in high school history. In that school history. So I don't know if you guys remember, but a standing ovation started more than a minute left on the clock. Fans donning orange and black slowly started rising and clapping, cheering on members of Norman, Oklahoma girls basketball team as the clock ticked down. Even some Bixby and Tigers opponents Saturday joined in. The Tigers deserved it for their undefeated season, for their state championship, for their adversity through a crazy week. It was a trying season for the Norman girls basketball team. Coronavirus quarantines and cancellations rocked the schedule. Then an announcer directed racist comments at them when the players kneel during the national anthem before Thursday's game. The attack on the Norman team came after broadcaster Matt Rowan, the owner and operator of the streaming service OSPN, who later stated that he was the person who made the racially ugly remarks. They're kneeling. I'm not going to even read his remarks. Anyway, Rowan apologized and blamed his use of racist language on his blood sugar levels. Yeah, okay. The story went viral, and he was covered across the country by numerous media outlets as the players in many circles were lauded as heroes. In the game, top-ranked Norman dominated in the second half and beat number 6 Bixby 48-37 at Oral Roberts Mabee Center to win their second straight Class 6 state championship and the sixth in the school history. The Tigers also finished the season undefeated at 19-0, putting a feather in the cap of one of the most successful 3-year runs by a program in state history. That's right. So, racists are everywhere, including the Oklahoma girls basketball state tournament. I'm telling you, man, it makes no sense. And, it's really crazy, man. This guy, and he's supposed to be an adult. Wow. I don't know, folks. Sometimes, we see these stories and then you don't want to believe it. You don't want to believe it, but you know it's true. You don't want to believe it, man, but you know it's true. 2021, and you're still getting all this crazy stupidity. That's right, I'm kicking it in my pajamas, getting ready to go to bed. KP's Video News, y'all. That gangsta lean. Peace.
KP's Video News, y'all.